Hi. This time, rather than read, we'll talk about the many questions I ask in the descriptions. Now, aside from the descriptions, maybe not all of you know there are two channels of this, PalTrick and PalTrick TV. One adult version and one kid one, since this and many other books can be seen with both lenses. Also, some things, especially from other later to read books, might be disturbing. But for now, Alice and the questions per chapter and my reason for asking them. By the way, I'll still talk about this book later. This comes first, though hopefully everyone enjoys. Thanks for listening. Chapter 1. What is the use of a book without picture conversations? While this might seem just Alice being annoyed, as I explained in the trivias, Lewiscarrol was a professor, so I'll argue that the answer is a study book, since not even adult books like conversations, which leads to Alice's annoyance. Her sister is studying during their short sibling bonding time. She even wonders if making a daisy chain is worth it, which is such a relatable feeling. Is it worth it to start something if you might not be able to finish, especially if it's because of school or parents or whatever? Again, arc. In chapter 2, I asked, what do you think about Alice's knowledge and about her most important question of who she is? Firstly, this was different from the PalTrick version and the PalTrick TV version, so I'll answer both. This was a trick question for me. After giving you a whopping one normal question on chapter 1, I felt it okay to begin with trick ones. My point is that Alice is shockingly right about what she says. For example, the math question is wrong, but if you try to make Alice's question right, you realize it only needs to change the 4 into a 7 and the multiple into a plus. Now it makes sense. 7 plus 5 is 12. I'm sure. And 7 plus 6 is 13. And Alice's comments about not making it to 20 at that rate means that the only reason she's thinking this is because of an adding table, which reaches to 12, as in 12 pence make a shilling. That is the main reason it reaches 12 as a standard. And speaking of things she hears and are confusing, the capitals. Napoleon was defeated, and even her grandparents could have mentioned that London now owns Paris. And there was a time when France owned Rome itself. So London is the capital of Paris, and Paris is the capital of Rome. While she's not right, if adults would not say stupid things, she wouldn't be confused. Rumble, rumble. But now for the other part, about who she is. While funny, isn't it weird how she describes Mabel? She effectively says she's poor and stupid, which I can't help to think is because her clearly snob parents. I'll explain more of my thought later, as it might tie to this question. For now I'll say, I believe that Alice mixed her school knowledge with who she is, her achievement with who she is. That is why it was such a difficult time for her. In chapter 3 I asked, what did you think about William the Conqueror? And most importantly, about the telling of it. Will it have been dry enough to work? Okay, first of all, I love the idea of the mouse boring them to dryness. I think that's hilarious. But now, the reason I ask this. The mouse's telling of the story is weird for anyone that knows it. And with weird, I mean incredibly in the side of William. Edgar Atheling giving him the crown nicely. And the patriotic archbishop is quite different from what probably happened, which leads to the other clearly English animals interrupting this French mouse, even with an ugh. Whether William the Conqueror was a hero or villain, good or bad, is not really my question. The why does the mouse work so heavily for him is, yes, I believe it is a French mouse, but also, at that time, the 1800s, or 19th century, I guess. It was normal and expected for children to be taught by very elegant French teachers, who might be a bit biased. As we learn later, they might not be the only biased ones. Also, this is part of the trivia, but Lewis Carroll is a descendant from Edwin and Morcar, and even William. So both him and the people William defeated. So that's kind of cool. Now to chapter 4. What did you think about Mary Ann? Mary Ann? Who is she, you think? I genuinely believe that she's not real, and that the rabbit just made her up to get Alice to work for him. I mean, there's other books about her by other authors, but here she never appears. There's no sign of any girl on the rabbit's house staff. She's never mentioned again. She will need to look like Alice, which will be weird for the rabbit to hire. The rabbit is very nervous and clearly not mentioning it later, etc. It's like a Looney Tunes cartoon. A character does something in a monster energy, and the others panic and do something stupid. There was one episode where Bugs managed to get Sam to dance a sweet jig because of that, for anyone that remembers. In chapter 5, I asked, what do you think about Old Father William? And as last time, Alice's How About the Little was not quite like the original poem, what do you think was changed this time? I think Old Father William is hilarious. And if you follow my admittedly weird logic so far, he's not what you would think a chubby old man would be. Which leads to what was changed. In the original poem, it was all about being old and basically dying. The old man there doesn't do much, nor did he have fun when young. But he's religious, so it's okay. This book shows him having fun back then and still now, much to a surprise of the youth. In chapter 6, the Cheshire Cat is very famous, but why do you think it's called Cheshire Cat? There is an area called Cheshire. It's in the trivia actually, which means we'll cover it later, just like we'll cover its connection to Rick Astley. I'm serious. But for now, something interesting. There was a very important man that Lewis Carroll met while as a kid. That was called, I kid you not, Cheshire Puss. In today's standard, that is very funny. And one of the reasons for that is the division from the kids channel and adults channel. My sense of humor and maturity of it can switch wildly, you know. Okay, so I actually planned to make all the questions into one video, but it was taking too long, so I considered to make it into 2 parts, like every other video. So, if you're enjoying, just bear with me and I'll continue next week. Thank you for your patience, and thanks for listening. Hope everyone enjoys.